When it comes to upping the horsepower in your diesel truck, obviously people get focused on the engine, and rightfully so. However, not enough people consider how that power actually gets put to the ground, and their transmission is usually lagging behind. When you increase horsepower beyond a certain point, your transmission needs to be capable of handling it. So we'll cover some transmission topics today in the AMSOIL Garage.
This video is brought to you by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Visit AMSOIL.com for more information.
Hey everyone, I'm Greg Jones for Engine Builder, and today we're talking about diesel transmissions. Most stock transmissions are good to somewhere around 500 to 550 horsepower. What happens when you go over that is there's not enough line pressure to hold your clutch pack and your transmission together. Or there's not enough surface area in your torque converter to hold that together to keep the engine locked to the transmission. When it comes to the OEM point of view, they want your transmission to shift nice and pretty and not hit hard. That means a lag in between gears so that it feels smooth and it's a nice driving experience. If you experience slippage when shifting, that means there's wearing occurring or shearing or heat increases to the fluid, which is all negative. When you start increasing horsepower more and more, those issues only become worse. If a stock engine has 400 to 500 horsepower and you buy a tuner that can easily add 150 horsepower, and then you start towing or hauling or hot rodding, you're going to stress the clutch and the transmission and the friction materials inside the torque converter. You're more than likely going to see your torque converter fail, no matter the brand. The transmission itself is probably not too far behind, but your torque converter is going to be the first to go. So the question becomes, can you delay some of that with fluid performance? The answer is yes. You can use a fluid that is better at reducing heat, maintaining viscosity, and maintaining line pressure. If you're looking to improve your transmission fluid performance, AMSOIL has two different fluids to choose from. One is a synthetic product that can be used for all vehicles. The other is geared more for racing applications. That one doesn't contain a friction modifier, and that friction modifier is there to help improve that smooth shift feel. If you use the racing tranny fluid, it's going to hit harder naturally, which means quicker shifting, and for performance applications, that's exactly what you want. Like any component on a vehicle, especially when more horsepower is added, inevitably, you're going to run into power issues and destroy the transmission and/or the torque converter. If you were to talk to any number of transmission folks, they would tell you in order to make big power, you need to do two things: add more friction inside of your transmission and increase the line pressure of your transmission. For added friction, you're going to multiply the amount of friction surfaces in your torque converter and your transmission in order to hold more torque. When it comes to the line pressure of your transmission, the OEM pressures are around 150 to 165 pounds. For better performance gains, you'll want to run somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 pounds of line pressure. That's how you can properly build power and transmit it to your axle. You need pressure and you need friction inside the transmission. You also need a fluid that is paired with that to manage the amount of heat and is properly formulated to not disturb the friction characteristics of the transmission. Because the transmission is one of those locations that, unless you do a lot of racing or competition level stuff, you don't service as frequently. However, that doesn't make the transmission less critical. It's super critical to your truck's overall performance, so it only makes good sense to buy the best fluid you can. Managing heat in a transmission is important, and synthetic fluids can help you manage heat and reduce the amount of varnish that could build inside your transmission that can affect its operation, its shift performance, and its friction characteristics. AMSOIL products can help you do that. I'm Greg Jones for Engine Builder, and thanks for joining me in the AMSOIL Garage.